Navi's turn to ban. Dire team ban. Dire
All right,
team
ladies.
Clockwork.
Dire team pick. $10 remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Yeah, and Gambit Esports already took down Vega Squadron. Vega Squadron, which we of course saw in our last game, very dominating performance. But Gambit Esports, in their opening match in this qualifier, mind you, this team did go, through a lot of. I mean, it's not necessarily one of the teams people had on their radar. Gambit Esports is sort of a bit of an underdog story kind of thing, but they did take out Vega, so all odds are that they take down Navi as well. So Navi definitely cannot take this one easy. And
5 seconds remaining.
To be fair, M19 has been taking down everybody right now. M19 is 4-0 right now, so they're sort of taking everybody a little bit by surprise. But you're definitely right. If you're Navi, you definitely have to sort of, I wouldn't necessarily say question yourself, but you do have that in the back of your head. God damn it, we lost to like an open qualifier team. Come on, guys, we're better than this. We have like, it is Navi. Remaining. They do expect to, of course, make the top 4 and obviously qualify.
5 seconds remaining.
It's not easy right now with Vega, with M19, and Empire as well. Later in the game, Empire is currently 2-1. If they win against Navi, they're going to be 3-1. So Navi definitely need to make things count. So Gambit Esports, not an easy opponent, but Navi also look a bit better here right now. I mean, in their game versus, who was it?
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time. Navi's turn to ban.
It's a bit ironic that it's Navi that's going to pick it up, because Navi, the old Navi with Ars Art used to love run Shadow Shaman. They utilized the hero almost like no other team, because they were able to take objectives and then superb timings on the Blink Dagger and just an overall just great usage of the hero. But right now the hero has been buffed a lot. After the buffs, a couple of teams tried out Shadow Shaman and didn't necessarily work out for most of them. OG played around with Shadow Shaman a bit as well, so I think it's an interesting pickup, especially this early. Obviously Shadow Shaman is not going to get banned, but this does make me wonder, has Navi a core Shadow Shaman up their sleeve? Like, is this potentially a mid Shadow Shaman? No, look, I'm not advocating for it. Obviously, it has a lot of weaknesses, but why else would you pick it up this early and reveal, like, alright, we have, like, a Shadow Shaman? Like, what's the purpose behind this? It could just be a curveball. It could just be, like, alright, Gambit is gonna, like, wreck their brains because of this, and in reality, it's just gonna be, like, an old, laning support Shadow Shaman. But who knows? Maybe they just have, like, an overall push lineup with this plan. I mean, they did love the Nature's Prophet, as pointed out earlier. So there's a lot of potential there.
Dire team pick. $10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
The puck sinking opening, by the way, is something that Gambit like to run. Both heroes are very strong first picks for them, just because, like you pointed out earlier, they just like being very flexible with that draft. Cheshire Cat is an excellent puck player, but Crewman, I think, has also proven to be a very capable puck player. So this is just Gambit Esports 101 basically, or like the typical Gambit Esports really. I'm very glad that they stick to their own guns. Oh my god, Bloodseeker.
Dire team pick.
We've had 3 Bloodseeker games already. But yeah, I like that Gambit is sticking to their guns because ultimately, you know, a lot of times when teams like Gambit make it into the qualifier like this, right? They tend to get swayed by what is meta, what other teams are running, you know, because they're the underdogs. They're not supposed to set the pace. So I think sticking to their own guns with this Draw Ranger pickup as well, I think I love it. I absolutely love it, and we've seen it the other day from them as well. We're casting what was it, Blood in the Streets. They had the Draw Ranger, the Wind Ranger, and the Razor. I thought that worked perfectly, almost too perfectly, to be honest. In this game,
10 seconds remaining.
For sure.
5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Ignoring the Bloodseeker, this is almost like a 2012 classic Navi pick, or draft rather. The Shadow Shaman Lycan, again, obviously it's only Dendy that really remains from that squad, but still, it is something that Navi used to run a lot back in the day, and Pyket, of course, is also a player that has been around in those days as well. He himself also, back then, also a very strong Lycan player, so I don't know, this is a solid draft from Navi. The Bloodseeker, I think we've seen the strength from Bloodseeker now. I believe he won both games. Yeah, he's won both games that we've cast with him. So I think he is very strong here. Silence is very strong against Puck. He can, of course, get towards the Draw Ranger because he has high movement speed if heroes get too low. And I think there's a lot of potential here for Navi, but I think if Gambit just pick up one more control hero, I think it's going to be a bit difficult for Navi to really deal with this, because they already have like the Burst Strike, the Nightmare against Bloodseeker and Lycan, who rely on their mobility to really be effective in teamfights. So if Gambit pick up something along the lines of, probably not an Earthshaker, it's probably going to be another support. Actually, it could be mid even. Oh, this is really difficult. This is really difficult if you're Navi. Like, what the hell are you going to ban out, really? It's true. Somebody did it, yeah, I'm not sure who. I think it was Secret. It's difficult to call, really. I think they could go back for the Razor, which they did, you know, in the other tournament that we were casting. Just because the Razor with the Link is sort of nice against Bloodseeker and Lycan. Sure, they have high mobility, but if they don't have high mobility, you can just run them down and just steal all their damage. There goes the ban. I think the Razor could have been a good pick, really. I wonder if they just looked up, you know, their Dota buff or whatever website they're using, and be like, the last time they ran Drow, they played Razor. Should we ban it? And they banned it. I wonder if that went through their head, you know?
5 seconds remaining.
Probably. We really don't know. They could go Invoker if they wanted to be really greedy. OD is probably better just because he comes online a bit faster, and he, like, the Astral Imprisonment is really strong against Lycan and Bloodseeker as well. That's a good, yeah, Clockwork as well. It's also natural here though to go for Force Staff against the Clockwork. I think you definitely want somebody like a core right now that goes for like the Force Staff early on, or I guess TA also with the Dragonlance and also works. But I think this is a bit greedy. I think the TA is a bit greedy. Yep. Oh, Bloodseeker. It's actually going to be a support Earthshaker, not a support Clockwork. This, by the way, also something that was in the air up until now, pretty much. Like, this could have been a support Clockwork and a support Earthshaker. The benefit of having a support Clockwork here is that you are a bit more active on the map. I think Earthshaker himself tends to be a bit more passive and more reactive. You do have a little bit of kill potential, but also not too much. But I think this is okay. Clockwork... I think Earthshaker would have had a worse time at the offlane versus Bane and Sand King. I think Clockwork has it a bit easier, has a bit higher armor, I believe. And just generally with the cogs, just make it easier to zone them out. I think this is fine, but ultimately I think the TA is just a bit too greedy. I definitely favor Na'Vi here right now with this lineup right now. They have a lot of control with the Earthshaker, Shadow Shaman, Clockwork. They have a lot of damage with Lycan and Bloodseeker, and they even have D-Push. If the the Draw Ranger lineup, it thrives in early pushes, but with the cogs, with the Fisher, I think they have sufficient D-Push and the Blood Raid as well.
I think they have all the tools they need to really deal with what Gambit has to offer, so the onus is on them to execute properly from one, really. But yeah, before we get into lanes, let's get these predictions in. Total number of play deaths per 25 minutes, 16-25.
Yeah, I'm going 16-25 as well.
That's a pretty safe bet. Total number of smoking kills at game end, I have no idea.
5 to 8.
I always get these wrong.
Team with the first tower kill.
That's a hard one.
It sounds like that is actually really difficult. I'm gonna go with Gambit actually.
Could go with RV, just be contrarian.
Yeah.
Play with the highest total magic and pure damage done by 25 minutes.
That might just be Dendi. It could be Puck. I'm gonna go with Dendi.
25 minutes, yeah. I mean, he's gonna throw Dropships and Blood Rights at some point. I'll join you on Dendi.
Alright,
because we've seen Bloodseekers be crazy today already.
Sure. Puck already with a deep ward, which I'm quite a bit of a fan of actually. It provides a sufficient amount of vision, blocks the camp as well, which is pretty nice. It's not a typical ward either, so it might not even get dewarded.
Well, normally you just see if this camp is blocked, it's not mostly on this high ground, and I think if you put a sentry there, you can still get it. But yeah, for now, a bit of a tussle here. Dickman comes through, hits himself with the stun. Pycan has some help himself, though. Now the Shackles catching up the puck, followed with the Fisher. They're gonna be able to bring it down. Not the best start for Gambit here. Bevan Soneka, though, with good positioning, just hiding behind these trees, making sure that they can come in and get the spells off without shooing them away first. And now they only get rid of the sentry blocking up the hard camp, but this gives them one option to stack and pull.
I'm a bit surprised that Soneko used the Fisher like he did. He cancelled it like twice or even thrice. I think very wise decision to do so, but I think he could have also blocked off the Sand King if he had placed the Fisher to the left. Ultimately, they still got first blood on the Cheshire and Puck as well, which is an important kill. And I believe, yes, it was the Shadow Shaman that got the last as well, which is important. Like he can almost, he can go boots now. Boots Shadow Shaman 1 minute in. That is insane.
Pretty damn strong, right? Especially with these constant right-click buffs that he's got. I mean, he's hitting for 74. As far as supports go, that's only behind the Treant Protector, I wouldn't say. Like, as far as common supports go, in terms of right-click damage. And he has range, so... With boots, you can just walk up, walk back, try and kite around a little bit more efficiently. Because his base movement speed is very low.
Speaking of hitting like a truck, though, Bloodseeker with Blood Rage, and 3 for 3 right now. Ooh, Gambit is disconnecting.
Oh. Someone pulled a plug in the team house or something, in the bootcamp, wherever they are.
Pretty much.
Guess that's what it comes down to. But yeah, this Bloodseeker, I mean, I guess one of the reasons he's so strong is that when you have a lineup that can, like, skirmish and harass each other in the early game, he's going to benefit from that too, if heroes are low across the map.
Definitely. That is definitely something that is often overlooked, the fact that he, can benefit from the other lanes like that for his own laning stage. But also, I think just in general, the fact that he's very self-sustainable. In a meta where heroes often dual lane mid, he can trade very favorably in dual versus dual lane scenarios just because, he can regen up because of the little creeps. And in general, I think his mid-game damage output is quite significant. The Blood Raid is a huge AoE spell that just causes the enemy to move in a way that they don't want to. Like, you don't want to have to run around Blood Raid in order to position yourself properly. Oftentimes it causes you to not be in a position to save your teammate, or you just risk getting silenced, which then in turn is just a huge silence. What is it, like 8 seconds? No, 6 seconds. 6 seconds at level 4. That is insane. So I think overall, Bloodseeker, it's one of those picks where it's not even necessarily a buff that really edged him into the meta. I think it's just that teams slowly start to appreciate a lot of the strength that the hero always had, and just realize that this is something that can work into their own lineup. Right. I think, you know, a lot of teams or a lot of players, if you would ask them, you know, what happens when you don't patch a game for like half a year, the meta would still change. Like, heroes would still move in and out of the meta just because of that.
Alright, now, all that in mind in regards to Bloodseeker, it's been a little game. I call it dead or alive. The question is, does Kuman live here or not? Because he has first point Psyblades. Dendi, well, he's Blood Rage on himself.
Yeah, he's gonna live. Unless Kuman sticks around and tries to go for more creeps, I think he's gonna live. But with Dendi, though, a lot of harassment already going his way, and he's just making Kuman pay for going for Psyblades level 1, which isn't necessarily a bad choice or a wrong choice by any means, but, you know, Bloodseeker can just punish a lane like this.
Let's see how far Dendi wants to go. Just goes for Lasses instead. Now I had a leg spike, alright. But Kuman East herself will be just fine, so we win the game. Congrats, game.
Hooray, what do I get?
The path on the back, what would be the TI, but yeah, now down bottom, Chash again. Well down again, does have the ult this time across the fissure. Quite enough damage here, but at the very least it gives Bloodseeker a nice little boost.
Which he needed, by the way.
He's being run down, yes. Big, making the rotation towards mid.
That was pretty helpful.
Strike. Okay. What about the top lane here? General, on the off-lane Clockwork, it's the classic way to run it, still can be quite effective. Especially if you're up against soul support like this, always on fly. Normally a hero that can trade very well with most off-laners, but depending on the positioning, might just die to General once he gets higher levels up in the battery as well.
Yeah, it's quite funny, I actually played this matchup like 2 hours ago, like before we casted the first game, and it is awful to play Bane versus Clockwork just because of the cast animation. Yeah. Honestly, it just makes it very difficult. Yeah, like you said, Bane usually trades very well and favorably against any other offlaner. Oh, Bloodseeker. He usually trades favorably, but because of the cast animation thing, it just makes it very difficult to trade favorably suddenly. And like you said, once he has more points in the battery sold, always want to fly, might just die.
Yeah, like right now, could have maybe run it down with that bit of a backstep from always want to fly that General didn't quite anticipate. If he had, he could have just caught him in the cogs. But as it stands, he's just getting his levels, and putting pressure up on a safe lane. Of course, as long as Bignum isn't there, then he isn't really fearing to die, I think. Especially not with Zhao being solo level. So, yeah, this is time for him to shine, get solo levels, make sure he can get that hookshot up and running, so he can then do Clockwork things. So far, that doesn't really change if you're 3 position compared to a 4 position.
Bottom lane, Biver might just get caught out here. Alright, he's fine. Overall, very flexible laning stage so far. We've seen the Earthshaker rotate now to top lane, the Sand King was mid. Both teams sort of know that they have to make some movements happen in order to secure top lane.
It is. Well, they do get through the cogs, but now the fissure from the side. The Soneko made the rotation, and now they get to draw Ranger here. The battery storm not quite lasting long now, but the last right click will still connect. General, well, Clockwork. Dot PNG.
380 movement speed. 380. This is the power of the Clockwork in the current patch right now. And now he has a Tranquil Boots, but with just Boots and a Windlace, he's 380, and he's gonna catch up to anybody, really.
405 now if the Tranquil Boots aren't broken again, so it helps. So that lane's going well. Middle lane, Dendi, kind of stabilized now with the pressure kind of being taken
nice
off. Yeah, exactly. 26 to 18.
He's an entire level ahead. This is not great.
Man. If he stepped into the river there, he could have easily been fissure blocked here. He's still doing that right the hell now. Dendy? Not quite fast enough here, with only Kuman being sort of half health.
That Fisher needed to also stun Kuman in order to get Denny the kill there. But still, it definitely goes to show that Kuman cannot stay in lane. But unlike the Death Prophet in our last game, Kuman can fall back into the jungle and just farm quite effectively as well. He can go, you know, for the large camps, he can go for the ancient camps, he can even stack the camps and farm them that way as well. And that is something that Death Prophet couldn't do last game, so even though the Bloodseekers dominated this lane, it's not as bad as it could have been.
They push a block on Puck, but of course it's a Puck. As long as they have the orb, you should be fine. So as far as experience goes, Cheshire Cat at the very least is keeping up, and I would imagine they need him to get these levels, because it's gonna be down to him. It's worth secking, I guess, to try and create some more space for the Dry Ranger, and make sure that Navi can't get the drop on these flimsy targets.
By the way, Navi is already ahead by 3k, or almost 3k. They were just ahead 3k, and now it's still around 3k. And without taking a single tower, and just, you know, 3 kills on the map, and then just general last hitting. This is damn impressive. And Bloodseeker already making a rotation, trying to go for that early kill with the blood, with the rupture. But I believe they're aware of this.
They should be. They see Suneko's experience in mid, so you know the Bloodseeker is somewhere. They do not necessarily know that he's stopped. So he gets a rupture out and almost want to fly. He's trying to walk it off, but then this general forced to make sure that turns into a kill. It's just so effective, right? You have this good landing stage, you rotate out to get this almost guaranteed kill. Especially if you have someone with you that can cancel TPs, because that's like the only real counter to the rupture.
Yep. And like you pointed out, Earthshaker immediately goes to mid lane, gets some experience and farm by himself as well. Like, Navi is making good rotations here. I will say that Kuman is also responding correctly, immediately rotating to the mid lane, knowing that Bloodseeker is not here anymore, and just getting his farm and experience back as well. So he is level 6 again, which, you know, earlier he was like, what, level 4.5? Yep.
Here on level 6s though, Clockwork just got his, so look for these hook-shots across the map to try and create even more chaos. So yeah, everything's kind of lining up for Navi. Yeah. Cat, but he gets shackled up, big him inside the stance. Almost level 2, so doing a bit more damage here, but it's just not enough. Hi Cat, bringing down Cheshire Cat, now gets Nightmare up.
You know what? You know what saved him? The Howl Knight HP bonus. That's 100 HP. That if he hadn't had those 100 HP, he would have died.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that we haven't really talked about. Lycan in general, who's getting complete free farm here. So, when do you expect him to pull his weight in terms of bringing down these 3-1 towers for the rest of the team?
That's the good thing though about the Lycan, the way he's played these days. He doesn't necessarily need to do this. Like, he's not reliant on taking these early towers to really, like you say, pull his weight. I think he can just wait until he has his armlet before he really goes for any objective. But again, the beauty of this Lycan these days is that you're not really on a timer as much as like a Draw Ranger would be, for example. I think you can definitely still scale very well into the late game. So I wouldn't necessarily expect to see the Lycan commit to anything anytime soon, before the armlet anyway. They might once the Shadow Shaman hits level 6, but then it's really just about the Shadow Shaman more so than the Lycan.
5 is very close. Of course, at this point, Pycat, he can rotate into the jungle, give the Beavers some space alone. This safe lane, which might just be what they tend to do now. To get the level 6, to try and get the momentum going in
the general
objective terms.
Gonna go for the solo kill.
Got the hook shot off, but didn't quite have the power cogs to work with, so I think we'll just walk out. Even with that, even if you land the cogs, I think Sanking is a very hard kill, just because you can still always burst strike out of the cogs.
Oh, for sure. He would have had to initiate with the cogs, like trap him, force out the burst strike, and then hookshot afterwards. But he had to initiate with the hookshot because he already used the cogs earlier. But it's still sort of just about asserting dominance and making sure that Sanking has to get out of lane and just gives this Clockwork free farm pretty much. If you look at the map, Gambit Esports, the two cores, the Draw Ranger and the TA, are falling back into the jungle because they just don't feel safe in their own lane anymore. And they sort of, you know, they sort of want to do the same thing that Navi did earlier, just give the supports a bit of experience and farm in the lane. But ultimately, you know, they get bullied out of the lane. So the best they can really do is just soak up some XP.
Yep. Well, yeah, as I said, both Koom and Darkseid are trying their best to keep up. They are sitting about 3k gold. Compare that to the other cores, yeah. Finds the Rock once again. Fly, this time though with a TP out, cancel one vision. The Nako comes through with the TP rotation. And yeah, that'll turn into the first tower because, well, we're already here. Might as well put some damage in. Just timing out though, so we'll have that extra damage coming from.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Much as that just goes well. But yeah, they're getting this net worth, right? Bloodseeker, pretty much free farm.
With the DD room,
there.
by the way.
Oh god, please no. Darkseid fronts right into him here. There's a little one silence available, but Bloodrite also comes through. Then he doesn't want to commit. He holds shot. Where was that one? I missed. Kept setting up top, and Jeff, you get making a rotation. Keeping him in with the coil, but the TP also successful. Meanwhile, mid, Pycat still sitting around, unable to get close to him.
Once again, how ironic that it is the Bloodseeker that TP's out, and they don't have anything to cancel it. Overall, Dendi, not Dendi, but Navi overall just making all the right moves on the map. They're not really wasting too much. I guess you could argue that they're wasting a little bit of resources bottom lane right now for the past, what, 2 or 3 minutes. But overall, they're just making good rotations, finding all these kills, not giving away any unnecessary kills right now. For example, Dendi moving up top, realizing that he was never going to get the kill onto the Draw Ranger, moving out and TPing out as well, so... I don't know. Navi just seem very composed. They realize that they're not really on a time or anything, and they're just forcing Gambit to make mistakes, or rather forcing Gambit to get
themselves a free kill. The Bane just runs right into Beaver general combo. There's no surviving that one. Cheshire Cat's still sticking around in the same lane. He's more survivable, of course, thanks to Sword and all his John too, but this is too much pressure here. Is Navi just choking out Gambit so much?
Yep, definitely are. Again, it just comes down to the fact that they were so dominant in all 3 lanes. The Bloodseeker overruling the TA is sort of okay and understandable, but once again, this is just, you know, why didn't they commit like a support to this? They committed a support to the safe lane, which they already lost anyway, or they sort of lost anyway because they couldn't really zone out general, and then instead Bane just gave away a bunch of kills, and then they even lost the Draw Ranger.
Almost saw a repeat of what just happened a moment ago. Would have been said.
Oh, he's itching. General, he's like itching.
Yeah.
He has his hookshot ready. And it's nighttime, so they would have the extra HP as well.
Well, not pulling the trigger just yet. Kuban continuing to farm here on this DA, and there's a Blink Dagger as well as a Desolator queued up, so hopefully these 4 items are still sort of on the way, and I can definitely see a world where Navi just kind of fizzle out, don't really get too many towers, and just leave Gambit to farm. That's something that they can do as long as you have the Draw Ranger in kind of a safe space and always fall back on those extra aura, extra damage to make this just that bit more efficient.
Yeah, I think for Gambit, the sort of like comeback potential is definitely still there, which is sort of awkward to think about considering they're like a team that, you know, sort of needs to press for
bottom lane. They're initiating here with the coil. Cheshire Cat follows. They can stay with the burst strike as well. They're looking for Nako. They will right click him down, but Pycat coming through. The ward trap on Cheshire Cat, so that'll be that. 1-for-1 trade. And one more here that still finds Snake. Who's sitting there in Sandstorm, unable to really execute himself. Got a few spells on him. 2-for-1 trade. Makes it not really worth it. Dendi now on the killing spree. They will be able to influence into a tower. No problems whatsoever.
See on the upside, they buy a bit of time for Kuman. Draw Ranger immediately realized that this was a losing battle and immediately TP's top, so it's a bit of space for her as well. But yeah, obviously it's not a favorable trade. They're going to lose the tier 1 bottom as well. And again, now he's just making all the right rotations, all the right moves, and responding correctly to everything, really. I will say it was also just like a very desperate attempt trying to get a kill here on the Earthshaker, who's fairly tanky. They don't really have great initiation. They had to walk up there and coil. I don't know.
waiting till Treasure Cat comes around to take advantage of it. But now Nicholas is also here. He is quite tanky, but he's tanky enough, so that's a hookshot maybe used defensively here, but caught inside the coil. This is such an interesting point, but yeah, he has to snap it as his cocked expired. This is what he only wants, keeping him alive, and he knows it too. Sad trombone.
This is definitely a case of overconfidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I can't blame him for, because you know if you have a game like this, you feel like you can accomplish anything. Speaking of which, Draw Ranger. She's just gonna make it out, isn't she?
Trouble is, yeah.
Oh, they see her, but they can't really go. They need a blink on the Earthshaker or the Shadow Shaman. Both are fairly close.
Yeah.
1.8k on the Earthshaker, 1.4 on the Shadow Shaman. Both might just get the blink dagger in the next 2 minutes, and then it is very worrisome for this Draw Ranger because they have perfect initiation for her.
Yeah, all three tier 1 towers have been taken out, so that's the big part of why they have this control to work with now. Just going straight into rush now. They realize the Gambit, well, they have no blinks of their own. They really don't want to fight into us right now, so we can just take this one down, get some extra little that away, and then come out swinging with blinks and ages. I mean, time is running out for Gambit right now. The smoking up is 5, but we're too late. Maybe they can catch someone here. Just pull it up.
By the way, your in-game audio might be muted. Worry about that later.
Says I'm transmitting, so not too much else I can do about that, but I'll see in a moment as the fight breaks out here. They have the Lycan and controlled up with the Phoenix, but he's not taking too much damage. Kuman's sitting in the middle of that. They trigger the Aegis. Kuman's still left for way too long here, in my opinion, but hey, he does get taken out. Bites back into this here. They want to turn this around. Shishigat dies, so does Bignum. 5 on the go, total XP of all things, but Kuman making a trade out of it. Finding a shot shot, can transfer it into more. General walking out here, one more right click's not gonna be in range for Pycat. Just swiping down the TA. Big commitment there from Gambit to try and turn this around in their favor, but ultimately they give up just so much more. They lose the fight handily, only get the Shadow Shot plus the Aegis, but now they're gonna lose the tier 2. They will lose the Earthshaker, I guess, so Gambit get that under the belt. That with the low respawn timers and the glyph, they actually hold on to the tier 2, so stop the bleeding in this particular fight, but Navi is still on the upper hand, you could say.
They still bled out sufficiently with that buyback on the TA. You know, if you thought she was ever gonna get close to the Desolator, she's not now. I think if you're Kuman, he probably thought to himself, all right, we just got the Aegis and they're all so low. If I just get in there, I can probably burst them down. And quite frankly, if he had, you know, if his team had been still around and could have bought him like a second or 2 more, maybe he could have even killed the hero more. So I can understand his reasoning, but ultimately his team was in no fighting shape at that point anymore. Quite frankly, like you pointed out, I think they just got the most out of that fight already with how long Kuman was staying alive, the fact that they got the Aegis. I think they took that fight quite well, but him buying back cost his team so much.
Yeah. I think he just got a Blink Dagger himself. I'm not sure about the exact timing, so maybe...
he got that before the fight, I think.
Yeah.
Either way, Gambit... I think this just goes to show that they still have that potential in those team fights, and granted this was a team fight without any Blink Daggers on the Sand King or the Puck. If they had Blink Daggers on these 2 heroes, their team fight would be much more potent as well.
Top tower is under attack.
Blink Daggers and Nico looking for an initiation onto Kuman. Spoke that together with some of his teammates. But Kuman managing to dodge that. The rest of his team down bottom just trying to find some palm, trying to put on some pressure. But at the same time, top lane, Pycat's just doing his thing.
So I've not been really criticizing Navi too much because I think they've played like really good games so far, but I think the lack of control over the Ancient Camp is worrisome. This is a TA, and Dendi is like an excellent TA player. They should damn well know that TA is gonna fall back and farm the Ancients. And I'm pretty sure she's farmed like 3 big like stacked Ancient Camps already, and they've never had really any control. They placed 1 ward in the Ancient Camp to prevent it from getting stacked again, but just 1 ward is not enough commitment in my opinion. You have like excellent heroes to catch somebody out of position. You have the Clockwork, you have the Earthshaker, you have the Shadow Shaman. If you have just 1 ward next to the Ancient Camp and keep vision over it, I'm pretty sure you can either kill the TA or whoever's stacking that.
Yeah. Well, let's hope for Navi's sake that it doesn't end up biting them in the ass, because as a result, Hunter Assassin is getting actually closer to the Desolator. And that's the point where you can actually realize TA can still burst people down, especially with the Jordan. So, gotta look out for that. For now though, Navi is still feeling very high and dry in terms of their net worth and their control as well. Gambit's mostly just dodging it, trying to put on some pressure on tier 1s of their own.
Gambit has yet to take a tower.
Yeah,
this is a Jar Ranger lineup.
That.
And Jar Ranger did go for the first item 4-step, by the way. She definitely
have
felt,
to against Clockwork.
Yeah, you definitely have to at this point. They were so far behind, and this Clockwork is wrecking them absolutely. With a Solar Crest as well. General. Good item choice, honestly.
Can you find somebody here? Treasure Cat, not the easiest one to bring down at the best of times, even for Clockwork. So far so good. Gambit, after the last fight, they're dodging very well. And is kind of scraping together farm regardless. With Navi, they're kind of moving as this 5-man unit, not too far away from the rest of their team. And oh god, Shadow Sharp and Blink showed off. Finds Kuman. That's a big kill they can get with the follow-up. General stab, but sometimes being blocked. There it is. Viper moves out of the way, follows the cogs, pushing it back. The Fissure can keep Viper away, but he doesn't care too much. Shadow Sentry already plays. The Kuman does get right click down. Always want to fly. Gets body blocked by Suneko, just making it look so easy. Tower goes down in the meantime, so now, do they go high ground here?
They could. If they had paid attention to the Bignum Senking, they would know that he doesn't TP with them, which, by the way, is a huge mistake. But if he wants to punish them right now, yes. Not if he wants to go for the Blink. Alright, he sold some stuff. Alright.
So he'll be there, they don't know about the blinks. Maybe that's the big opportunity for Gambit to turn this into a team fight. But without the TA, they kind of like the damage, don't they? Hiker, he's super tanky, he's so standy. Big now reveals the Blink Dagger with that initiation. And then Luca comes in with the control. Nightmare, nice Nightmare save there from Bane, always want to fly. But now he has to deal with a Dendy, who shows up as PKB. Vincere was already used, so can't really keeping him to right click and down. So Neko, nothing low, almost touched the Sandstorm, so they should be able to finish off that kill eventually. Meanwhile, Treasure Cat going for General and Denny in the back, but they just snap the coil and walk it off. Even Suneko's still alive, so be able to walk it out until Bignum finds a good kill onto Dendy. Follow up there for Treasure Cat and Kuman coming back into the fray. They find a slow General on the back of that too. Now looks like they've already extended themselves a little bit. No sure comes through, but control from the Bane. Make sure that there's no play potential for General this time around. Treasure Cat with a double kill. Gambit, they lost the tier 3, they lost a full set of racks, but was it worth it?
I think you're sort of fine with this, because you were going to lose them anyway against a Shadow Shaman like this, and I think they desperately needed the experience from these kills. And of course, obviously, you want to keep the racks, but you might just get a tier 1 out of this as well, so that's like a lot of gold and experience going your way. And wow, Navi definitely overextending. Dendy diving tier 4 towers, like he was tanking 2 tier 4 towers and 4 heroes.
Yeah, he still just walks out.
I think Navi just pretty much did what Vega needed to do in order for Comanche to get back into the last game. Like they completely overextended, gave away a lot of crucial kills. I guess the only saving grace is that Pycat got out like the way he did. But I think if you're at Navi, you still feel very comfortable. You still have the Redding aspect. You have the Shadow Shaman and the Desolator and the Lycan. So even though you gave away all these kills, you're so far ahead, 13k net worth, and worst comes to worst, you can always Red Dota the shit out of this game. So
yeah, especially with mid-racks down. I mean, it's not the best racks. Like when it comes to Red Dota, you'd rather have a side lane so that they can push in the other side lane, and you have maximum amount of distance here between both of them, so Gambit has to walk longer. So in that sense, the mid lane is not the best one to take. On the other side, it's the hardest one to take because you technically have 3 shrines in range of that for the defending team to fall back on. But yeah, the most important part is also that the shrines are opened up. So next Roshan will respawn in 20 seconds actually, so that's something for Navi to look forward to right down now.
Yeah, though the mid-Rex is also the one that provides the Dire with most map control, because it's the sort of control, like it's like an access point sort of.
Oh, they canceled the TP on Kuman.
Do they know that though?
Did they realize? Yeah, they don't think they do. They have detection. No,
I think,
none of them have.
I think they suspected. think they suspect it.
None of them have any detection, so they just spend their spells.
So
they don't even care.
So close. Alright, they're giving up.
I guarantee you, Kuman is sweating the scene right now. But yeah, the fight goes on. Mass TPs come through. They lose a Lycan already here with this kind of bunch from Gambit. Fiber looking for quality control. Does have the shackles. Can he get it off here? Bigman running interference. Nightmare on the Bloodseeker taken off. So then he can start right-clicking away. Bigman will not walk out of this one. They kill the 1-for-1 trade, but still good for Gambit. Brought down Pika. That's a big kill. 850 gold for Bigman. He gives some of that away, of course, but still.
Yep.
You need these kind of things, right? Any sort of even trade on paper is favoring Gambit right now.
And it's not even trade, right? It's like you're trading a support for a carry, so it's like a favorable trade. And look at the experience; it's even. The experience is even. This is off of the back of like a huge net worth advantage, and Dendy even has like a Midas. But because of these valuable kills or these favorable kills, they just equalize the experience. And for a lineup like Gambit, that is very important. These heroes, they scale well with experience. Puck, for example, definitely wants that level 25 as soon as possible.
The only one who doesn't really have all that much experience is the Spain. He isn't even quite level 10 yet, but like his big utility spells, this basically comes down to Nightmare right now to just try and take someone out of the fight, and the Fiend Scoop as well. That doesn't scale in duration of the damage. So he has what he minimally needs. He doesn't necessarily need these levels as much as the others. But now the smoked up, put us Roshan, but once again, just like last time, I feel like they're a little bit too late. Dies already. And yeah, they immediately called the retreat.
Oh, Puck.
No! Oh, it gets hexed up! 4-star from his teammates. Should still be fine. Maybe Fiber, and he can't quite get a range.
Yeah, he's gonna be safe now.
That was scary for a moment.
That was super scary. It's the power of Ether Lens. That hex range was insane. But yeah, overall, just Na'Vi, good on them for getting this objective. With the Aegis and Cheese, they're gonna go for the Nugget High Ground Siege. And it's gonna be really difficult for Gambit to defend this. They do have, obviously, a lot of ways to initiate with a blink on both Sanking and the Puck. But Na'Vi also can, they can slowly siege this or can just drop the wards. And then with the Aegis, they could just commit the Lycan and just bait out all these spells.
Well, see how this works out. Definitely it's gonna be a hard task for Gambit to try and fight up against this. Especially since Na'Vi just smoked up in the backline, so it's very hard for Gambit to even make the wraparound play and try and take out these supports. Now, double burst strike in the front, Kuman. Good angle here, they actually bring down Dendy immediately. Now Kuman finds Spyver as he blinks in to try and turn this around. Great start so far, now they need to find more, and they do. So Neko drops Pycat, caught with another burst strike, and well, that'll be the agency. He will also die a second time.
Didn't even need to commit the epicenter. Na'Vi just in an awful position, and I will say also a bit unlucky for them because I believe Fiverr just blinked into his silence from the Puck.
Yeah,
overall,
he kind of blinked in. I think he got a hex off. I'm not sure. But then he just died to two right clicks on Kuman. So he's blinking right on top of TA without controlling her is kind of the death sentence for a hero like a Shadow Shaman.
I think they just didn't expect Dendy to die this quickly. Dendy just melted, really, quite literally, against the TA, and I think they expected him to be more tanky, to be able to use the cheese, and if he had gotten the cheese off, they could have been able to turn around the fight with the Earthshaker as well, but overall, just good positioning from Gambit and good spell usage as well, and suddenly, if you look at the net worth, it's only a 6k net worth advantage. If you're Na'Vi
there just like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Even look at Gambit. They have the Temple Assassin, Kuman, who had a kind of a bad lane up against the Bloodseeker. He's up at the top of the net worth chart. He's level 22, highest level in the game by country a mile.
It's quite funny how you sugarcoat it by saying kind of a bad lane. He had a horrendous lane against the Bloodseeker, right? When you
gotta soften the blow when you talk about it like
right. But when you have to fall back into the jungle and you're like a level behind, you know shit hits the fan. But yeah, he's done a really good job. Even though, and he even had that awful buyback where he basically only got like a Shadow Shaman, and like that was definitely not a worthwhile buyback. But Again, I think this comes down to Na'Vi not having any control over the ancient camps. He can just farm ancients and Navi's not doing anything about it, even though they have like 3-4 heroes that can catch anybody off guard. And it's not even like the TA has been protected while farming. She's literally just been farming and Na'Vi just doesn't really give a shit.
Alright, so where do we go now? Na'Vi, of course, is still technically ahead. They even have a set of Rex down, so it's not the worst for them. But how does this look going further into the late game? Are they fizzling out, or do the heroes have the ability to scale compared to Gambit?
They definitely still have the ability to scale. The Earthshaker especially is one of those heroes that can always scale until the late game depending on what items he goes for, though as I say that he's preparing for Crimson Guard, which is also a good item to have against TA and Draw Ranger, don't get me wrong. But usually on an Earthshaker like this you kind of want to go for other items, you know, like a Shadow Blade, be a nuisance, and just a general killing machine even. But instead he goes for a more utility build, which I can't really fault him for because they sort of need it as well, but oh well. But yeah, they can still scale very well. Again, they have the Red Dota aspect with the Lycan and the Shadow Shaman. Shadow Shaman can always, you know, once he gets enough farm, go for like a Refresher, for example, and just drop two sets of wards and be done with it. Oh,
General, he finds the initiation follow-up from the finisher. He can maybe come over. This wolves, there's also the Rocket Flare, so ultimately he lost too many health points. Great catch from General.
This is not good. They might just be able to even... No, they won't be able to force it by that, but still, they can take another objective, the Shrine here, they can force maybe something for this bottom lane. I'm not sure they should, actually. They should probably wait for another Aegis. They still have the cheese, which is nice, but if you have like an Aegis and 2 cheeses, you're in a good position.
Rock it on.
Definitely heating up to be
oh, so Neko
Stomp as might have. Oh, what the hell is he doing there?
Walk past the
Just trying to be sneaky. 4 stuff's down. You're down to half health, but now the Rex are the wards are down, so the reds are happening. Space created. You could say perhaps if they can get these towers. Always want to fly. Almost gets 2-shot by a Pycat, but now he's in middle of trouble. Controlled by Bignum. He will eat the cheese, get it off just in time, and now the fight looks totally different. Kuman with his own BKB. Able to stay alive, but I believe, yeah, he's ruptured, so he's very limited in terms of the aggressive movements he can do. But now Snako also effective to bring it down. Don't have a sentry to counter out that Glimmer Cape.
You know, it's actually biting them in the ass that Cheshire Cat got caught up. Oh,
it is Cheshire Cat that is. He does get hacks before he can jump out, so he just gets killed. The coil, not really doing anything else with it. Always want to fly. Goes down Nightmares, trying to do what he can. Now Kuman, it's all going to be down to him, as well as Draw Ranger to do things. Cheshire Cat from the buyback. Got 1 kill, they need more though. They need more than this, but without a call, they're going to have a hard time just keeping people in. There it is, Bendy. Maybe jumping low, the Nightmare comes in just in time. Always want to fly. General tried to run interference here, keeping Kuman away. Now Pycat turning this around here with the control from Beaver. They bring down Daxtag with 1 more swipe. Come on, someone right click it. There we go. Pycat finishing him off, so that's a huge amount of damage taken away from Gambit. No, it's Navi once again on cleaning up duty instead. Such a back and forth fight. Yeah, they see him with a rocket flare, but they decide not to go for it. They want to finish up the racks. Want to finish what they came for. They've already got the range. Melee still alive, but the wolves should be enough to finish that one off. Ultimately, even for Navi.
Draw Ranger though. They need to get a kill here. Yeah, they need to get a kill here.
I don't think Navi even cares at this point.
No, they don't.
Solar Crest.
He's just teasing them.
Yeah.
Well, this is the strength of Navi's lineup. Even though Gambit made a valiant effort at coming back into this game, and you know they're still not out of it, obviously. But Navi, just the fact that they did take an early racks, it just plays into their favor. Really. They have the power of the Lycan and the Shadow Shaman, and you could see how quickly they took down those towers as well. With the AC, with the Desolator, this Lycan is always going to take down towers in a matter of seconds, and it's going to be difficult for Gambit to really win this game still, because they need to take down Navi in those team fights, which is already really difficult. But they wouldn't they probably need to win multiple team fights as well, because Navi obviously does have the advantage of, you know, being ahead in terms of network, and they will likely always have buybacks, and even if they don't, they still have 2 tier 2s up, and they even have a tier 1 mid.
It's, yeah, I mean, Gambit needs to find the perfect team fight every single time, and Dota is a game where you just cannot really guarantee that, especially with these. I mean, if you look at the crowd control, they have a Sanking, which, I mean, all credit to Bignum, he's always been able to find the best possible burrow strikes, I'm pretty sure, but there's only... Navi isn't really forced to position themselves in a way where he can find more than 2. Then if it's on the 2 tanky heroes, well, Gambit's gonna have a hard time actually converting that into something. I mean, Pycat, he's sitting at almost 3k health points if he has strength as well. And yeah, even Bloodseeker is down up to 2.6k health now. It's hard to bring down these heroes.
Smoke versus smoke.
Got Echo Slam to initiate with here. There's the follow-up general with the cars, just pushing them around. The hack on the main, he will die to Dandy here, but Kuman pops BKB, the call, the epicenter here, they bring him down. 1-1 trade so far, Bignum with the 4-star will keep him alive. Kuman also, well, they have to try and fight against Pycat, but, well, good shackles from low ground, keeping Daxac down. This might just be it, because he doesn't have buyback. Follow-up strike from Bignum here, trying to do what he can, but it's just too much damage coming through from Pycat. Whenever he gets calls to somebody, they just straight up die unless they dodge themselves out of it. The Rax, same kind of story with the wards being down, a couple swipes here and there from Pycat. They finally decide to get himself out of there. Kuman coming in with a vengeance, but there's only so much he can do, especially without a draw aura. He just doesn't have the punch and the defensive utility at the same time to stay inside these fights. General, this is no shots, but the damage has been done. They've got mega creeps. And if Gambit has, with all the merits from Gambit's draft, they have no way to fight up against Gambit.
Agreed. And like you said, you know, they just didn't have the damage right now in that team fight without the draw aura. TA was doing everything she could really, and I gotta applaud Kuman. He's played that really well. The fact that he didn't even die in that engagement is also pretty worthy of an applause. But ultimately, without the draw range aura, Kuman's just tickling Pycat. Pycat with Armlet, with Assault Kiraz. He is so damn tanky. Look at his HP, 3,400 HP, and then what, 30 armor? You're not gonna kill him. You're certainly not gonna kill him twice. And Gambit against Mega Creeps, like you said, I just don't think they have the tools to really come back into this game. They barely managed to sort of scrape that team fight even in terms of, you know, trades. I'm not even sure that was even really. I guess they got the Dendy early on. They also got the Clockwork, but they were also forced to buy back on the Sand King. So I don't know. Gambit, yeah, I just don't see it right now. Maybe with a Rapier on the TA, you know, just go for like some, just go hope for some big melt hits.
He's going for MKB. He has it in 100 goals. He might just sit in base and wait for that to come out. I mean, that's the kind of thing that you need against all this invasion coming out there.
But even
I don't see anything enough.
There's a Heaven's Halberd in the Clockwork, which just direct both him and the draw, or with the TA and the Draw Ranger. They both got destroyed by this Heaven's Halberd, and this is just Navi itemizing and playing correctly. That Crimson Guard, by the way, which I sort of criticized Soneko for, sort of, I say, paid off. That just made them almost impossible to.
It is the Hacks Echo Slam hook should everything being dropped, and they will instantly annihilate Change again. They also get control of the Tablet as cross them further across the line. Pops the BKB in the end, but controls them feel right, they're still alive, but eventually Pycat decides to spend a few seconds, or half a second, on finishing up the TA, and that'll be a GG. Well played indeed, Navi. And so it's off to the better start. 2-1 scoreline for them now.
Yeah, and Gambit, they fall to a, I believe, 1-2 scoreline, which isn't the end of the world by any means. But if you wanna reach top 4, I think you need to approach it a little bit differently. I don't even think the draft was necessarily that bad. I do think the TA was a little bit greedy. I definitely think they needed something else in that